Welcome to Home Care, Doors Open, where we discuss licensing, operations, and scaling your home care business. Whether you're just opening your doors or looking to unlock new doors to growth and success, this podcast is for you. Let's begin.
Everybody, this is Lucas Carroll here from the business of senior care, and back with another episode of Home Care Doors Open. Super excited today to welcome a special guest, Matt Hansen. Matt is the executive director of both the Colorado and Utah Home Care and Hospice Association. Matt, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Lucas. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be talking to you today, especially with somebody here in the home state of Colorado, where I'm at. And I know you represent both Utah and Colorado. For our listeners, I would, and for myself, I'm curious if you'd tell us a little bit about kind of the current roles that you have, and then also your background and experiences that got you here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start from the beginning, at least start with my experience. I'm a physical therapist, and I started my career, actually, I'm an entrepreneur as well, and started a staffing agency. And so I had contracts in a number of different settings, including home health. And that right out of grad school, I was up in Washington State. I'm from Utah, moved back here about 12 years ago. And when I moved back to Utah, I realized the environment just wasn't the right environment for the staffing agency that I had. It was very saturated, just different environment. And so I came back into corporate America and I chose home health. So I was a director of rehab, worked with an agency for a number of years, and then with Intermountain Healthcare, helping with some of their joint ventures. And at the time, I got involved with the association. I've always believed in getting involved and staying close so that I could learn about all the new rules and regulations, etc. Served on their board and was eventually elected, nominated, and then elected president for the board. And so that's kind of how I came into becoming now on paid staff. I'm the executive director, as you mentioned, in Utah and in Colorado. And that began because we were going through a merger between home care and hospice in Utah, and our executive director at the time unexpectedly had to resign because of a spouse's reassignment. And so it kind of put all of us into a panic. We were right in the middle of this. But fortunately, I was in a position with Intermountain that I was able to come over. One of the projects we've been working on, joint ventures, my time with them was ending ahead of schedule. And so I was able to come over. They asked if I could temporarily come over and help them with the merger, which I did, and I fell in love with the work. So that's how I got involved in Utah, and then I met the association management company, a little bit different structure with the association in Colorado, but they saw the success we were having in Utah and asked if I might come over and kind of help with their association. I've been working there since 2021 as a deputy director, and most recently since just last October, as their executive director.
Very good, very good. Well, I think both states are lucky to have you leading the charge in both both associations. Maybe I'll just start off with in both states, either states. What are some of the things that you're seeing from an association advocacy perspective that are happening currently, 2026?
On 2026, it's all kind of about HR1, or what a lot of people know as the Big Beautiful Bill that was passed by the Trump administration and by the legislature last year. That's had a lot of impact. I mean, regardless of where you sit politically, you can't ignore the impact that it's having on our industry. So that's really kind of been the focus of a lot of the legislative sessions, certainly in Colorado. And in addition to that, we've had such a state deficit, approximately $1.5 billion, that it's been a difficult year on the Hill. So that's kind of been the focus as far as advocacy goes this year for us.
Got it. And for a lot of our audience that tunes in are people who are outside the space of home care, home health, and hospice, and they're seeing a potential opportunity, potentially to start a business and get involved, seeing a demand for the seniors that need care in our communities. For those people who are interested in our space, do you what do you see as the potential, like the future for getting into this space to be able to operate an agency like this?
Yeah, I have honestly, Lucas, never been more bullish about care at home. And the reason why I say that, even though there are a lot of headwinds and there are some challenges certainly, but because we're seeing other people understand the value of care at home. We hear it with our politicians. Until actual policy aligns with the rhetoric, then that's when real change gets made. but they see the value. They know that it's less expensive on the system, and unfortunately, they talk in dollars and cents a lot of the time, where we're thinking about honoring somebody's wishes and where they want to be and quality of life, etc. A lot of times for our representatives, they have to think about a budget and they have to think about Medicare dollars, etc. And so for them, though, that they realize that it's a lot less expensive to keep somebody at home, and that is where they want to be. And time again, studies have shown that people want to age in place. And so there are a lot of programs that are talking about programs that are supportive, but at the same time, we also see some policies that are working against us being able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think to your point about the demand, I think we see that when we work with home care owners across the country, that there continues to be a surge in the seniors who do want to stay home
Mm-hmm.
and want to be able to remain independent as they possibly can. And it seems like a continued natural fit. But it sounds like you're seeing that in the association side and in the real world too, that the demand continues to increase for care-based
Yeah,
home
absolutely.
care in the home.
Yeah, growth is not the issue. Growth certainly
Yeah,
is not the issue.
yeah. How about from a worker side? What do you see in terms of caregivers, registered nurses, healthcare workers when it comes to home-based care? What are some of the great things that are happening and maybe some of the challenges?
Yeah, I think with this growth that you hear people affectionately refer to as the silver tsunami or other things, right, where, as our population continues to age, and many of those individuals in this generation and the baby boomers, et cetera, they are very independent. And so they want to be at home. They remain active. And but what we saw during COVID-19 and during that pandemic that kind of took where we were seeing a staffing shortage, there really became a staffing crisis quickly. But it caused us as an industry to really think outside of the box. It made us think, how can we recruit and bring enough people into the industry, people who are interested? How can we work with family caregivers, right, to help to meet this demand? And Colorado is unique in that area where we're one of the few states where we actually work with family caregivers where they can be employed by a home care agency, receive payment for helping to take care of a loved one. So there are a lot of things that we've gotten out of that and coming out of the pandemic. And now we're just going to continue to have additional demand, whether it's through foreign workers or whether it's moving upstream and helping to recruit and to get high school students interested in the industry. We need to continue to support those types of things just to make sure that we have the labor staff necessary. It's a great place to work. I mean, for the individual, speaking from that perspective, if somebody gets tired of being in the same place every day and doesn't want to work in a sterile environment, think about home care, right? It's a changing environment every single day, and it's wonderful. That's one of the things I love most about it, being outside, being able to travel in between clients. That independence, you're literally on the front lines of healthcare. Barring an EMT job or something like that, you just don't get more to the front line and see more variety of different diagnoses and situations, etc. So it's a great career.
I would agree. I would agree. You get to see, especially seniors in their own environment,
Mm-hmm.
and see them in their own setting and help them to age gracefully. It's pretty awesome feat to see that. For entrepreneurs like yourself that are wanting to understand some of the challenges and some of the great things about owning a business in this space, what are some things that you would say for them to consider if they're thinking about starting a business as far as operating a business in the home care space?
Great question. Number one, I'd say talk to somebody who's in the know already, right? For example, your organization, it's so important to tap into that expertise rather than trying to just go out on your own. And there are a number of reasons for that. I mean, one of them being you need to understand your market, potential referral sources, and not knowing that, right? And just stepping into an area and you hear about the margins and you hear how well, your cousin's friend is doing at their franchise or whatever it might be. You could be stepping into a world of hurt. You also need to know that it's going to take work. It does take work. And oftentimes new agency owners are owner operators and they're there in it every day, right? So I'd say protect your personal time, protect your family time, but know that at least getting started, it's going to take some work. I'd say one of the mistakes, or two of the mistakes I'd say that people make oftentimes in starting the business is number one, not holding on to the reins enough initially. And then number two, not turning them over when it's time, and trusting other trusted leaders that you've helped to train up so that you can help to grow your business and step out of the day-to-day operations.
Absolutely. That's such good advice as far as not being able to do every single thing in the business, and having trusted team members to be able to help you to grow is such a key component. Advocacy. Wanted to ask for you as an expert in this space, what are ways that people can get involved? What are we talked about the big beautiful bill, but what are other ways that people can help you and help the association to advocate and make sure that home care has a voice?
Yeah, thank you. I just say get involved. I mean, that's what we're experts in, right? Is with the advocacy and helping to amplify your voice. And so a lot of people that are not connected with their state association, unfortunately, don't receive a lot of the information that is critical to their operations. Whether it's a new policy or procedure code, or reimbursement, codes that have been updated. There are all kinds of things. Credits that are available to you. We have what we refer to as allied partners that have different programs. People literally, by being tapped into an association, are able to save their association so much money. But as far as from an advocacy point, if you were to go out and try to hire your own lobbyists, you're going to be paying tens of thousands of dollars to over $100,000 for a lobbyist, for a state lobbyist. And that's not even to say nationally. But because we're stronger together, we're able to pool that. And we have representation back in Washington. And I travel there several times a year for different things. And then we also here, we have an amazing lobbyist team. We have 3 lobbyists, and then ourselves and our committees that help to support that. So I'd say get involved, learn about the issues. We have weekly newsletters. We have a monthly member call. We have legislative calls. Stay informed. And then there really is power in grassroots advocacy. Sometimes it is a numbers game, and we make that as easy as possible so that we can create a form letter that if somebody just doesn't have time to do more than just hit the button to send it to the representative, that's okay. That's better than nothing. We had over 980 comments recently on proposed Medicaid cuts from our members, and that's amazing. That makes a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. Well, Matt, I think that's a perfect place to wrap up there. I want to thank you for coming on and spending your time talking to myself and talking to our audience here in Colorado and in Utah. Matt Hansen with the Associations for Utah and Colorado for Home Care and Hospice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Lucas.
If you found this conversation valuable, please leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Business of Senior Care. We'll see you next time on Home Care. Doors open.